Hello and welcome. This is the Astrology of the Week Ahead podcast. I'm your host, Chani Nicholas. I'm so glad you're here. Really, thank you for spending time with me. Maybe this is your first time hanging out. Maybe you do so every Sunday or Monday or at the end of the week. But what we do here on this podcast is we talk about the quality of time, astrologically speaking, that we're about to live out. But before we get into all of that, I just want to make sure that you got the memo, that you got the message that Black Moon Lilith has officially landed in the Chani app. We're so excited to have her presence in the app. Please go and read about your Black Moon Lilith placement. This is a placement that has so much energy in it. When we learn about where Black Moon Lilith is in our chart, it can be one of those moments that really opens us up to understanding that part of us that has never felt like we fit in. And actually, working with Black Moon Lilith can help you to really appreciate the parts of you that don't fit in, that don't want to fit in, that would rather leave a situation than stay where they are not valued or wanted or appreciated. It's also a place of great creative energy and desire, and there's just so much to get into. So you can read about your natal Black Moon Lilith placement. You can read about the transiting Black Moon Lilith in the sky, where it is in your chart. That's in the horoscope section. And if you don't have the premium version of the Chani app, you're in luck, because with the code Lilith30, you can gain a 30-day all-access pass absolutely free. So check it out. Check us out. There's more than just this podcast on the app, and we hope that you love it. I record these way in the past because I need to. Our company requires me to get far ahead and do these recordings in advance so that people can do the editing and the clips and the sound and the da-da-da-da-da in a way that's not stressful, right? We try to build a company, the Chani app, in a way that is not about urgency culture. So I record these way in the past. Right now, it's the beginning of August where I am. And we're talking about the week of October 21st. So I have literally no idea what's going on in this part of the year. But the astrology is the astrology. And actually recording it so far in the past is oftentimes, it's harder for me for sure, but it's oftentimes actually really interesting, because by the time we're living it out, I can actually see, was I right? How did the astrology land? And I learn so much from it, because all I can do is try to describe the archetypal signatures that are happening. And then we all get to see exactly how those get lived out. This week is a real mix. And actually, this week is hugged by some very supportive signatures with one challenging thing in the middle. But that challenging thing that is in the middle is really hefty and deep and cathartic and very encouraging of our own personal power. So I'm not mad at it, but I'm going to remember that this is a little kind of dip. There's a lot of depth that we stumble into early in the week. But before we get there, on Monday, the 21st, we start out the week with Mercury, the translator, the communicator, in a very helpful setup with Saturn. Now, whatever Mercury touches in your chart, in your natal chart, if you go into the Chani app and you look up your Mercury, whatever planet it is having a relationship with, whichever planet it is in aspect to, means that your Mercury personally is translating, or is, very well adept at translating the energy from the planet it's an aspect to. So, for example, on Monday, Mercury is picking up what Saturn has put down, and Saturn always is going to be wanting to engage with boundaries and structure and things that have quality and are enduring over time. Saturn is no planet that brings quick glory or flash in the pan kind of fame. This is like what will be long lasting. So on Monday, we want to be talking about things. We want to be planning for things that are going to occur over a longer span of time. I want to be really thoughtful. Mercury is right now in Scorpio. So the style that it's functioning in is Scorpio-ish. Scorpionic? I don't know what I was going to say. Scorpio-ish. It is deep. It is mysterious. It's penetrating. So Mercury wants to go deep in Scorpio. Mercury is like, oh, okay, it's enough with the small talk. Where'd you grow up? What's your greatest issue? What are you most insecure about? Like, let's go into that place right away. So it wants to go deep into a subject, and in this very helpful trine to Saturn, Saturn helps to give it the boundaries to go deep, right? Like, we don't want to just go deep in the middle of a mosh pit. It's not the time. But if we're in a space, if we're in a group, if there's a really good facilitator, if we're in a therapy session or what have you, that's the container. That's Saturn. And that Saturnian kind of vibe can really give us the boundaries and the containment needed to go as deep as Mercury in Scorpio wants to go. So I just think that the beginning of this week is a really good time to think about, like, what is the long-term container? What's the long-term goal? What is the kind of boundaries that we can work on that are going to facilitate depth and something even transformative for me long-term? What's the plan? And can I think about this in a way that, like, I'm just not about immediate gratification? I mean, as a person, I love immediate gratification, of course, but I think it really causes a lot of problems because we have so much of it in our tech-dominated culture. And we forget how to think long-term. We forget how to think strategically. And if Mercury in Scorpio is good at something, it is about thinking strategically because it is, in traditional astrology, a Mars-ruled sign. And Mars is the warrior that's always planning out its next chess move. So, what long-term will bring us the greatest satisfaction? And how can we seek out conversations that are wanting to go there with us? The people, It's also just a great day for making plans. It's got a kind of sturdiness to it, a depth and a sturdiness to it. Okay, then we've got Tuesday. As the sun is at the last degree of Libra, right before it moves into Scorpio. Scorpio season starts on Tuesday. But into its last degree, and remember, when planets are in their last degree, they're kind of like exhausted, like it's not some like juicy big moment. It's like, okay, everything's about to end and change and we're moving into a new thing. The sun squares Pluto at the last degree of Capricorn. So this is very like transitional. We know we're at the place of endings. The sun squares Pluto. Pluto is a planet that we can associate with endings because it is a planet that is the, deity of the underworld. So death, rebirth, those cycles of endings and beginnings are very linked to Pluto and its themes, its archetypes. So already we're in that feeling and we're about to enter Scorpio season. So spookiness and all of that. I mean, there is going to be a lot of celebrations and a lot of focus on honoring the dead and honoring our ancestors and honoring in the Northern Hemisphere this time of year that is going into the dark and really contemplating endings and how important and necessary they are. So there's something here on Tuesday that's ending. We might find that to be true in our personal life. We might not. But I do think on the world stage, there's something here that's like, something's tipping towards a decaying point. And then the sun moves into Scorpio. So it's a deep entrance into a season, Scorpio season, that is incredibly intense already. Mercury's already in Scorpio. So we're going into the underbelly. We are not doing chitter chatter, small talk, as we've already discussed. But again, there's this stabilizing feeling of Mercury trine Saturn that the week begins with. So look for the containers that we can do the alchemy within. We don't want to be in faulty containers. We don't want to be in false friendships trying to have deep conversations. I mean, you can do that, but it feels awful, no? You know, you're having a conversation with someone, you're like, oh, this is going really well. And then you say the thing and it just doesn't go anywhere. And you're like, oh, that person doesn't, or they don't want to, or it's not the vibe here. We want the conversations, we want the experiences where we can actually go through a process and come out the other side, not give up in the middle of it. That is not strategy. And that is not what we're going for, right? I don't mean keep trying with someone or in some situation where it's clear that that's not the setup. I mean, recognize the setup. If we want to be in something long term, if we actually want to win at something, we have to be willing to go through the absolute shit parts of it, because it's not all going to feel good. And because Tuesday's astrology and Scorpio season in general, the astrology, is always going to be about personal power and remembering to anchor yourself in yours. And that Scorpio season, if it teaches anything, it's that life gets ugly. That's okay. When things decompose, it's gross. That's part of regeneration. So where can we hang out with the stuff that's not pretty and it's not perfect and it's not how we want it to be and it's not right and it's okay. We can work towards the thing we want long term. How can we be in that place of this is also part of the process? This is a very trite and overused example, but imagine if the caterpillar was I don't want to go through the gooey process of that cataclysmic cocoon thing to turn into a butterfly. I just want to be the butterfly. No, we have to all turn to goop. We have to be unsure and we have to get messy and we have to be ugly and we have to, the whole thing, be cringe, in order for the transformation to occur, in order to move, in order to grow. So there's something here this week. Sorry, I got a little passionate. That teaches that. And then Thursday, Mars, the ruler of all of this in traditional astrology, in modern astrology, we would be saying that Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, but I go by Mars. You could think about both. But at least for this little podcast here, Mars, the ruler of everything in Scorpio, so now Mercury and the sun, is making a sextile with Uranus. It's in Cancer, so it's got a lot of feelings that it might not be comfortable expressing forthrightly. But for the moment, it's making a sextile to Uranus and it's saying, y'all, let's move towards progress and change. Let's be innovative in our approach to winning this thing. Let's think about it from another angle. Don't get stuck in your feelings about it. Feel them, yes, and then think from another point of view. Move from a different angle. Look at your situation from every single possible side and say, what's the next action? What's the action that's going to lead me towards a breakthrough? It's very supportive for that kind of activity. That's all I'll say. I'm always so incredibly moved every time I read the new reviews that y'all have left in the App Store. It means the world to me and to the company and to everybody who works here. We all read them. We all love them. But it also really helps people to discover the app, and we are just forever grateful for the time it takes to write them. I wanted to leave you with this one. It's called More Than Astrology. If you seek astrology guidance, you are going to appreciate this app. I recommend this app as a holistic way to incorporate astrology, meditation, and self-care, such as journal prompts or ritual. Very grateful to Chani and her team for their art, astrology, meditations, and ways of knowing. All right, y'all. That's the week. I mean, all in all, it's pretty mild, astrologically speaking. It's not like big, big, big. I just think because the sun and Pluto are at the very end degrees of Libra and Capricorn, it's just signaling something to me about that decomposing, ending, death, rebirth, mystical kind of cycle. So here we go. Scorpio season. It's on its way. Happy birthday to all of the Scorpios. Let us know what you love about being one. Or let us know what you love about the Scorpios in your life. Scorpio gets such a bad rap. Why? I mean, every sign is obnoxious. Every sign has a problem. Every sign is problematic because every person is. And we're the ones who are translating the energy. So, all right, come back next week. We will talk about the new moon in Scorpio. It's also going to be deep, but it's trine Saturn. So it's got some really good stabilizing energy. And we'll talk about how to work with it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let us know how the week goes. If you're listening to this at the end of the week, let us know what we got right. We being me, I. Or actually, we being the astrology and I, because we're partnering here. So if you listen to it at the end of the week and you're watching this on YouTube, leave us a little comment about how it landed for you. If you're listening to this in the Chani app, I would love for you to tag me on socials. My handles are Chani Nicholas, ChaniNicholas, on all the things. Or you can tag us at the Chani app on Instagram, Chani, ChaniApp. Be careful. There's a lot of fake accounts out there. It's so annoying. They repost, they do the thing. Also, while we're on the subject and while we're talking about Scorpio vibes and things, if you ever get contacted by someone or some entity called Chani Nicholas or the Chani app, it's not us. We don't contact people. We do not DM you. Never, ever. No company that is worth their weight, I don't think, DMs anybody else. Never, 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 never trust a company that DMs you that's asking for money. It's probably a bot or a fake or some sort of scam. I don't know if it would be a bot. Probably. I don't know. It's weird out there. We're in the whole tech universe. So just so you are very clear, so we're clear, I would never do that. I'm not going to do that. I don't have time to do that. Also, I don't have time to give people readings like that. That's ridiculous. Okay. I'm glad we're clear. What else do we have to say? That's it, I think. All right, I'm done. Thanks for joining. Thanks for listening. Sending you so much love. Many, many, many blessings. Happy Scorpio season.